ॐ वंशी विभूषितकरान्नवनीरदाभात् पीताम्बरादरुणबिम्ब फलाधरोष्टात् पूर्णेन्दुसुन्दरमुखात् अरविन्दनेत्रात् कृष्णात् परं किमपि तत्त्वमहं न जाने. Welcome to the scripture class, and today's subject is Uddhava Gita, the last message of Sri Krishna. So, in the Uddhava Gita, still we are on the introductory part where a real conversation between Uddhava and Sri Krishna has not begun, and how the gods have come and are requesting and glorifying Sri Krishna, and then requesting Sri Krishna to finish the Nara Leela, the Krishna Leela has to finish, it has been done, and now time to go back to Vaikuntha. That is their thing. Before saying that, they had all the things they said to Krishna, that the glory of Krishna were all described by gods. So still that is continuing. We are now on verse 18. स्मायावलोकलवदर्शितभावहारी भ्रूमण्डलप्रहितसौ रतमस्त्रशौण्डै पत्न्यस्तु षोडशसहस्रमनङ्गबाणैर्यस्येन्द्रियं विमथितुं करणेन विभ्य. Thou, the gods are saying to Sri Krishna, thou whose mind 16,000 wives failed to unbalance with their love shafts and allurements, their smiling glances expressing their ardor, which rendered beautiful their eyebrows, from which love messages were sent forth to strengthen those love shafts. Here it is said that how Sri Krishna were, even though it says that 16,000 wives he had. So maybe the explanation is that every devotee felt that she's close to Krishna. And the Krishna, the Lord, is often called Pati, and you think yourself as Patni. It doesn't mean really he has 16,000 wives. But what is said as that Mirabai said to Rupa Sanatana in Vrindavan, when Rupa Sanatana says, "No, I don't see any woman in Vrindavan. I'm sadhaka." Mirabai said, I don't. And Mirabai said, "Oh, I thought here only one Purusha is there, only one man is there. All are women in Vrindavan. Women means those who love God." So, like that, so then when he heard, he said, "Yes, only Purusha, only Lord, only Swami is Sri Krishna, and all others are like his devotees, like his followers, like his servants." So often that is called Pati Patni. Pati also means Swami, Swami also means the master, the Lord, and the devotees. In that way, it might have been described, but it is said Sri Krishna had 16,000 wives. So that is very impractical, and it needs our whole explanation. And but here is literally it is said in that way, where your 16,000 wives, with all their love and allurement, could not sway your thought. You are so self-controlled that nobody could deviate you from your being established in your true self. That is the role Krishna as the Jivan Mukta, as the Lord of knowledge. So he was never deviated from the knowledge of true self, that they are saying to Sri Krishna, that nothing could deviate you from your being established in your true self, because you are the Lord of all, you are Lord of yourself. That is the greatness of Sri Krishna being said in that 16,000 wife, with their allurement and their eyebrows, could not sway you, could not deviate you. That this is the explanation. विभ्यस्तवामृतकथोद्दवः स्त्रिलोक्याः पादावनेजसरितशमलानि हन्तुम् अनुश्रवं श्रुतिभिरङ्घ्रिजमङ्गसङ्गैः तीर्थद्वयं शुचिसदस्त उपस्पृशन्ति. Now here it says about the two beautiful poetic way of saying how these two streams, you see, the streams carrying the waters of thy glory that confer immortality, as well as those which have sprung from the washing of thy feet, are potent enough to destroy the sins of the three worlds. Those who abide by their respective duties touch both these streams. The former set forth in the Vedas through their ears, and the latter issuing from thy feet by physical contact. So, beautifully being said, there are two streams that spring from God. So, and those both springs are powerful enough to remove the ignorance of those who really strive for. That is it called sadhava. The people who want to that, the virtuous people, those who abide by your rules. So, what are those two streams? One is Vedas. Vedas are the knowledge. The knowledge comes forth from God. So it is said that as in the Bible also said, in the beginning there was Word, and Word was with God. Like that, the Word was God. So this Word means that Vedas, the knowledge, that knowledge is God. That knowledge was with God and is with God. So that knowledge came as the stream, and that knowledge is powerful enough to remove the ignorance of beings, of good people, of virtuous people, those who want to be freed from the bondage of ignorance. And that knowledge is so powerful. What is said about the Vedas, the stream of the Vedas, stream of knowledge that flows. Another beautiful thing said here is about the mythological. Mythological means the Ganga, another great stream. That is stream that sprung forth from your feet, and that when physically touched, that will also remove the ignorance, the bondage, the birth, and that person becomes free from all sins and ignorance. The Vedas and the Ganga are compared and are said to be similarly powerful. Taking dip in a Ganga, they say, removes all our sins, all our impurities of body and mind. That is the power of Ganga water. It's called Suradhuni, or it's called Patita Pavani. That's why it is called Patita Pavani. All those who are impure get deep in Ganga and they all become pure. Not body is clean, not only body being clean, but mind is purified as well. That is the power of Ganga. Any water can clean the body. It doesn't need Ganga to clean the body. But taking deep in Ganga or touching the water of Ganga, that's why I say physically when it does, the water that came from thy feet. You know how Ganga sprung from the feet of Vishnu for the good of all three worlds, as it is said here also, that in this river flows through from heaven to earth to Patala. So in heaven it is called Mandakini, in here it's called Bhagirathi or Ganga, and in the Patala, neither world is called Bhogavati, but the same river. And for the good of every living being, it goes. And how much good it does? It can give you emancipation, freedom from all sins and weaknesses and impurities. As the Vedas, when he heard through the ears and got into heart, can remove all our ignorance. Similarly, this another stream that comes from your feet, the Ganga, can remove all our impurities and grant us freedom or liberation. So here one is like bhakti, you have the feeling, you have a belief in that. The Ganga is so powerful to remove our impurities. Similarly, another is the real knowledge that comes from you and is passed on through generation from teacher to student. And that also is powerful enough to remove the ignorance and make one free from the bondage and get into the light of knowledge. So beautifully said that these streams are both are so important stream. Here Vedas, everybody knows knowledge, but here the glory of the Ganga that comes forth from the Vishnu's feet, that is being said, that even the touching. Sri Shankara also said Ganga is so powerful that Gange Gange Tiyo Bruyat Yo Jananam Satairapi Muchyate Sarva Pape Bhyo Vishnu Lokam Sagachati. The glory of Ganga, Shankara said this is another from another Purana, but glory of Ganga, she says Shankara in the Ganga Stotram, Devi Sureshwari Bhagavati Gange. Tribhuvana Pavani Tarala Tarangi, that you purify all three worlds in the form of liquid fluid, and you are Sureshwari, you are the Ishwari, you are the Ishwari Sura of the Devatas. So you have that powerful. And the glory of Ganga in another Purana that I said, that Ganga Gange Gange Tiyo Priyat Yo Jananam Satairapi. Even you are far away from Ganga, not what to touch, and deep is very close getting. Touching is also getting close. Sprinkling water is also very close. But you are satai yojananam duramapi. You are hundreds of miles away. And you say Ganga, Ganga. Just utter the word Ganga. Yojananam satairapi muchyate sarva papebhyo. You can be freed from all the impurities if you utter the word just Ganga, being far away from Ganga. Just the Ganga word is so powerful. Ganga river, the water is powerful. Ganga air is powerful. Ganga earth is powerful. Mrittika is powerful. But very word Ganga is powerful. That even you utter the name Ganga, being far away from Ganga itself, and muchyate sarva papebhyo, and you all will be freed from all sins and weaknesses. And then what happens? Vishnu lokam sagachati. You will go to the abode of Vishnu, abode of God, by just uttering Ganga. It has to be done with faith and with devotion to Mother Ganga, as if you are doing. That's why in Hindi there is a saying, Man changa to kathauti me Ganga. What does Ganga does? Ganga purifies us. But when our mind is happy, changa, free, and happy and peaceful, then even the water in a wooden pot becomes like Ganga. The purpose of Ganga is to purify our body and mind. Mainly mind. Body can be purified with anything. Purifying the mind is the main challenge of us. When mind is impure, all agitation and disturbance, all that happens, worries, anxieties, fear, anger, all these are signs of impurities of mind. When mind becomes pure, all these can go away, vanish. And when you have no anger, you have no hatred, you have no jealousy, uh, you have no desire, then what remains? Nothing. No, something remains. What remains? That is the joy. Joy of purity that is felt in the heart. And when that joy is felt by removing all the impurities of our mind, and then anywhere it is Ganga, in the word is Ganga, and the water that is in the wooden bowl, that's a kathauti is wooden bowl. So in that, whatever water is there from any river or pond, or even in our time the water from faucet, but that water is as pure as Ganga, because your mind is already pure. If your mind is pure, everything becomes pure. When they say, if you are you realize soul by purifying the mind, mukti is here. You don't have to die in Benares to get mukti. Wherever you die, that becomes Benares. So when that is how the glory of Ganga being said, and in this verse also, the gods are saying that the stream that flew, that came out, originated from your feet, is so powerful to redeem the people from all impurities and grant them liberation, as the Vedas do, as the knowledge itself does that. So this compared the Vedas and the Ganga. So even Sri Ramakrishna, Holy Mother, all they praised the Ganga so much. Even Swami Vivekananda, such a jnani. We say Swami Vivekananda is all knowledge and jnana yogi. But when he came to the West, what did he bring with him? Ganga water he brought with him a little. And whenever something happened, he used to drink a little drops of Ganga and say Shiva, Shiva, and that would make him fit for doing the work, remove all his stress, and everything would go just by having few sips of drops of Ganga water. That was Swami Vivekananda even used to do that, and many people do Ganga. I said they keep here in households. You all have Ganga water at the time of when you want to purify ourselves. We sprinkle, you drink few drops, and from birth to death, Ganga water is important. Even at our deathbeds, what is the last thing that is given? It is the Ganga water, which will give us salvation, freedom, mukti, that water, if somehow remains, person is good, doing good work, all the good karmas, we believe he's a sadhu, but still Ganga water is given. If something remains, we don't know. But the drop of Ganga water will surely take the person beyond all bondage. That is our faith that people have, and that great love for Ganga was there. After saying this, all describing Shuka's describing of all what God said to Krishna, then Shuka says, Shuka is called Vadarayani. Vadarayana's son, Vadarayani. So Aruna's son, Aruni. In Upanishad, you will read Aruni Uddalaka. So Aruni is son of Aruna or Aruna. So here Vadarayana is the name of your Veda Vyasa. Vyasa is called Krishna Dvaipayana Vyasa is his name. We call him Veda Vyasa because he compiled Vedas or knowledge into four Vedas: Rig, Yajur, Sama, and Atharva. Actually, he compiled into three, and all the whatever was remaining was put in Atharva Veda. So these four Vedas were compiled by Krishna Dvaipayana Vyasa. That was his name, and he became because he did so much work on Vedas, that's why he called Veda Vyasa. Vyasa who compiled Vedas. So that Veda Vyasa is also called Vadarayana. To ascribe to Vyasa is not only compiling of the Vedas, but all the 18 Puranas is supposed to have been composed by Vyasas. Puranas means all Vishnu Purana, Garuna Purana, and the last was Bhagavata Purana, whose part is this Uddhava Gita, whose Bhagavata's part. And Astadasa Puranani, that's what it is said. He composed 18 Puranas and wrote, of those is the Bhagavata is the last. And also he uh, philosophized the Vedanta philosophy and put it on a reasoning, and it's called Brahma Sutra. In an aphoristic form, he wrote the philosophy of Vedanta. That's called Vedanta Sutra or Brahma Sutra. That Brahma Sutra is originally composed by Veda Vyasa, inculcating all the knowledge from the Upanishads, from the Vedas, and that's called Brahma Sutra. It is one of the Prasthana Trayas, three basic scriptures of Sanatana Dharma of Hinduism. The most important is Upanishad, and that's all the experience and the teaching, all that Upanishad. And the second is Upanishad or the Vedas. That is the first most important scripture. Second is the logical composition of the Vedas, and that's called Brahma Sutra. And the third is the Gita. Gita, which comes from Mahabharata, from Itihasa, but that is also equally important in the for Hinduism. Three basic books called Prasthana Traya. Three Prasthana means going, moving, walking. The path that will lead to knowledge or path that will lead to God is Upanishad, Brahma Sutra, and the Gita. All three Prasthana Traya will, if we walk through these, we will reach the goal of God realization. That's what it said. So Gita, Brahma Sutra, and the Upanishad make the basic books of Hinduism or the Vedantist or Sanatana Dharma. So that was all this Gita was composed by not by Vyasa, but by Gita was is a part of Mahabharata, and Mahabharata is the work of Vyasadeva, and of course Vyasadeva composed Mahabharata. That is also one of the Itihasa. It's not called Purana, but it is composed by Vyasadeva, where he says the story of Krishna and the Pandavas and all those fight and all those battle. But there is the Gita is a part of it. And in the Gita, though Vyasadeva composes it, but Vyasadeva says it is not my writing. I have not written. Whatever happened, that I put it. And the conversation between Krishna and Arjuna that I got to know, that I have just put in the verse form, in that nothing is my there, only the setting of words might be mine, but it is all, the wisdom is all of Krishna. Question is of Arjuna. And but nowadays we don't say that it is written by Vyasadeva and might have been edited and all that. We say every word of Gita is the Bhagavan is the word of Sri Krishna, as if he spoke the same words at the battlefield. That much honor is given to the verses of the Gita, slokas of the Gita. So the Krishna Dvaipayana Vyasa is also called Vadarayana, and Vadarayana from Vadarayana's son is called Vadarayani. Vadarayani's other name is Shukadeva. It's not Sukadeva, it is Shukadeva. So, Talabhasha and Hashavu and Ka. It is not Dantasa and U and Ku. Ka. Sukha is happiness. Sukha. The Sanskrit word also used in our vernacular language, like in Hindi or Bengali, Sukha. But here it is Shuka, which comes from parrot. Shuka is parrot. Shuka Sari in Bengali is still parrot is called Shuka. That the name was parrot, Totapuri. You know that somehow parrot is somehow very holy name. Sri Ramakrishna's guru's name was Tota. Parrot, literally in Hindi, Tota means parrot. Shuka in Sanskrit also means parrot, but his name was Shuka. So Vadarayani Shuka. Now he is speaking Uvacha. He said, who said? Shuka said. So far, gods were saying. Now Shuka says to the he was reading the he was saying the Bhagavatam to Parikshit. Now Shuka continues. इत्यभ्युष्टय विबुधैः शेष शतधृतिर्हरिम् अभ्यभाषत गोविंदम प्रणम्याम्बरमाश्रित. Shuka said, thus praising the Lord, Brahma with the gods and Shiva saluted him and ascending the sky said. Now they came, all the gods and the Brahma and the Shiva came. They said the glory of Krishna. Now, after saying that, now they are ascending back. And this Brahma, then all gods who have come, Gandharva, Yaksha, Kinnara, all those are now ascending, now done here. Visit to Krishna has been done. They all came to see Krishna, the glorious life of God, Lord Vishnu in the world, where now he is concluding his life before he goes back to heaven. All gods came to this earth to just meet Sri Krishna. How important is the earth, you see. And before ascending to Ambaram Asrita, they do pranama to Krishna, to Krishna, the Vishnu, and they say this thing. Who says? Here, representing all gods, here Brahma says. Brahma means Brahma. Brahma says, Brahmo Vacha, Bhumer Bharavataraya Pura Vigyapitah Prabhu. Tamasmabhiraseshatmans tattathaivo But it says, Brahma said, O Lord, we formerly besought thee to reduce the burden of the earth. O thou self of all, thou hast done it exactly as we wished. So coming of Vishnu is not the will of only Vishnu. This trinity of Hinduism is in fact one Ishvara. That Ishvara appears as Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, having different categories of work. Brahma creates this universe, and his work is done. And then the Vishnu is there, he has to maintain the universe. Maintain, actually, more than the universe, he has to maintain the human beings, that they all go on the right path, they're right thinking, they don't deviate from the dharma. Like that is the work of, to maintain that is the work of Vishnu. And when its time is gone, the created being has to be gone, this pralaya has to come, the universe has to be absorbed back to Ishvara, that is called destruction in our common language. Then the Shiva dances, the Nataraja dancer or dance of destruction, and all then goes back to its original form. All varieties merge into in the homogeneous Ishvara, all that merges there into the Ishvara, and for getting ready for the next cycle. From the Ishvara, from next cycle will produce Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva will come, and then from Brahma will come forth the universe and its human beings with all 24 cosmic principles will be there. That will create it with the Mahat and all the Jnanendriya for the living beings and Karmendriya. All that will come by the work of Brahma, and then it will have to be done. So here it says, we thought that world is having trouble. Brahma created, and it's not that he sits quietly. He looks at the world. He is responsible for the world. That's why he comes when Vishnu has come. So all these three are alter ego, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. So Brahma says, as we have wished that you come and perform the work and set the clock right for the human beings. They have been doing many wrong things. So you came and you have done exactly as we wished. So it was as if it was a joint decision all these three deities, main deities of Hinduism, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, which that world is going wrong way, so it has to be corrected. So they wish that Vishnu goes, who is in charge of all this, having the things right. He goes and he does the thing, and he says, "As we wished, you have done exactly that way." And what you have done? You have done to reduce the burden of the earth. The burden, whenever there is a, they say in the saying, what is the real burden? Uh, it says, Papa is the real burden. That when you do something wrong is the real burden. When we also commit some mistake, we feel so heavy in our heart. Oh, why did I say that to them? Why did I become angry? Why did I commit this wrong mistake out of greed? So we feel heavy in our heart. That becomes burden. So here, burden is not the weight burden, but the feeling burden. Why? Because people were going wrong way. So dharma was not being practiced well. Adharma had set in. Then to remove adharma and dharma to reestablish dharma sansthapanarthaya. Then Vishnu or the Lord has to come. Now Brahma says you have done just as we thought, and you have reduced the weight of Brahma, the weight of the universe, by setting forth the dharma again here, and that's reduce the burden of the earth. That is what you have done. Then, um, then he says further, "Dharmasya sthapitah satsu satya sandhesu vai tvaya kirtischa dikshu vikshipta sarva loka malapaha." Thou hast placed religion or dharma in the hands of the virtuous who are devoted to truth, and hast spread in all directions thy fame that takes away the impurities of all. Now, this burden, this impurity is the burdensome in the world. Human beings forget their goal, they become too attached to the sense objects, as if the sense enjoyment becomes the goal of human being in the time, and you have to come and show now and then what is the right way, what is the joyful way. Joy is not in enjoyment of the senses. Joy is in purifying the mind and in being devoted to God, which is your own self. So, to show that, you come here and you give the responsibility, some take up that thing, your true teaching, and what they do? They spread the truth of thy life, and in all directions, thy fame. What is the fame of God? Sri Ramakrishna once said, "Those who worship me or those who love me get my Aishwar, Aishwarya. Aishwarya is inheritance. All glories, they get my glories. What are my glories? He was not a rich person. He was known among the devotees, not as we know now. He was known to very few devotees. Then what was the glory of Sri Ramakrishna? He says, my glory are Viveka, Vairagya, Bhakti, and Pavitrata. Those are all my Vairagya. Those who are devoted to me, they get my inheritance, as a son gets inheritance from a wealthy father. So my devotees also get my inheritance, and my Aishwarya. My Aishwarya or inheritance or glory is all those divine qualities, Daivi Sampad, divine wealth. It is not the material wealth, it is divine wealth. Here also, Dharmasya sthapita satsu satya sandesu vaitvaya kirtischa dikshu vikchipta. They who spread kirti, dikshu, vikshipta means spread. uh, that what type of this thing is? Sarvaloka malapaha. And this, your glory is the remover of impurity in all worlds. Sarvaloka mala apaha. It will remove all mala, all impurities. What will do that? Your glories, saying your glories, saying about you, talking about you, that will remove the impurities. That is the importance of discussion of great lives among us. That's how we can read the lives of Krishna or the Jesus or Sri Ramakrishna and his divine play, or in Bengali Sri Ramakrishna Kathamrita. So when you read or talk about these, so it is like spreading something that will purify the world. Your kirti, your words and your life are powerful to remove the impurities of the world. And when that is done by the good people, they are doing exactly that. That's such a great, glorious work of purifying the heart of others by spreading the message, your message, in the words that you spoke and also in your glorious life. That's what this Brahma said to Krishna, how you have lived a wonderful life, and the people will spread thy life, kirti, the glory of thy life, and they will remove the impurities of the whole world by doing that. It's a wonderful way to remove the impurities. Often we say how to remove the impurities, or how to do the sadhana. We don't know how to become pure, because pure mind will achieve God. That's what it is said. Bhagavan love is to realize God is the purpose of life. And how to realize God? How can I realize God? When I become pure in heart, God realizes will come. How to become pure in heart? So many things are said for to become pure. Don't think the impurities. Don't bring the impurities through your senses. Don't ahara suddhi, satta suddhe, ahara suddhi, satta suddho. Satta suddhe, dhruva smriti. That's what said in the Upanishad. When what you intake is pure, then your mind will become pure. Intake means not only through mouth that you eat the pure food. That food is nothing, it is not that important. Whatever is nourishing food is pure food. But what is important is from other sense organs, what we take in, that is ahara. Says Shankara described ahara as whatever we take in through our eyes, what we see and what we hear. All these, particularly these two sense organs, eyes and ears, they bring a lot of information to us. And that information may be irritating, may be exciting, may be troubling our mind, and that goes direct to mind much uh, directly than the food goes. And that creates the restlessness of the mind. If the food or if the intake is impure, then that's why purifying the mind through intake of purity is very important. So how to make the things pure, intake pure? You see, the read nice books, see the wonderful the likeness of God in various forms, and all the creation of God in various forms. But that should be soothing and calming your mind, not agitating your mind, not rousing your the excitement in your mind, but calming and soothing the mind. That's why that what you have to, what you will see, what you will hear, that is very important. And on that depends on what our mind thinks, and what our mind thinks, that our mouth speaks. Fullness of the heart speak at the mouth. So when our intake is fine, then the mouth will also speak the good things. And when we talk about the glory of God, that not only purifies us, but that purifies whoever listens to that. That is the great purify kirtischa dikshu vikshipta. And when we talk about that, we do good to the people whomsoever we speak. When we talk something good, that's what in everything goodness is that. When we talk ill about others, some condemnation, criticism, something bad, and you talk that, you pollute your own mind and pollute others' mind, because those thoughts will enter through the ears in the form of words, and inside their mind they will create problem. So that is what you pollute yourself, you pollute others' mind. But when you say good about others, talk even the human beings, even something that you talk good about others, that is like purifying your own thought and others' thought. And if we talk, what is the best thing that we can talk? Good others, are a mixture, human beings are a mixture of good and bad. So you talk good, and the person who is listening to you remembers the person. He says, though you are saying good things, but I remember he's not so good because he has also thought about something bad, or she has thought. And that idea may come. But if we talk about God, where there is only good, and that will be like purifying others' hearts, others' mind, as well as our mind. That is Sarvaloka Malapaha. Wherever we say and talk about God, His teachings and conversation and His life, that becomes like purifying the whole world. That's what Brahma said to his talking to Krishna. But the message of God's is given to us, what we should do in life, what is real good that we can do in life. Real good is that when we give spiritual feeling for others. For that, we have to fill ourselves with the spirituality and real good thought. And when we have filled, then the from mouth, whatever in the heart, that comes out. So we have to be very careful to fill our hearts with all goodness, with God, not about the what is wrong we see in the world. And we imagine, mostly more than seeing, we imagine wrong about others. And we create that impurity by thinking wrong about others, weaknesses about others, impurities about others. We create more impurity than that person has. And we feel about that. And what we speak, we start speaking that impurity. And in that, we did both wrongs. You first speak, your mouth is become bad, your heart has been thinking bad, and you then invigorate, you make that thought of illness, that ill thought in your heart more powerful, and also you pollute others' mind. So we have to refrain from talking ill about others at all time. And what to talk then? We talk of kirti of God. There is so many things that we read about the good things. Many life of saints we have already read. Talk about those. Even these things are so beautiful. If you talk those, even the person that has also read that, but listening again gives the joy. When you talk about Holy Mother, whatever you have, all of us have read something, some life of Holy Mother. But every time we hear, our hearts are purified and we feel the great joy of that. That's why Kirtischa Dikshu Vikshipta, all around the world, Disha, that Vikshipta, spread that and remove the impurities of Sarva Loka, of every being. That's what the Brahma said to Sri Krishna. Those who do that, do this work when they say your glory and your life, that they do this great work of service for the humanity. Okay, let's go to next. यानि ते चरितानीश मनुष्या साधव कलौ शृण्वन्तः कीर्तयन्तश्च तरिष्यन्ति तरिष्यन्त्यञ्जसा तमः. Hearing and reciting which deeds of thine, O Lord, good people will easily get beyond ignorance in this Kali Yuga. So good people and bad people little divided. So what is good? Who are good people? Who can take the good thoughts and they go beyond bondage of ignorance and the realm of joy. So those are called good people. It's not that this is good people and that is bad people. Anyone who takes in the God's stories of God, the conversation of God, teaching of God, that person is good for that time. Any bad person, if he likes that, he becomes good person that time. Whoever does good work is good person. Swami Vivekananda says about the religion, about the what is religion? Being good and doing good. That is the whole of religion. That he says. Dharma, being good and doing good. And in doing good, serving others. Serving others, this is one of the greatest service that we can do. Fill ourselves with all goodness and then spread that goodness around. And the way we say, even a person who is not who is worried and tense, or is not had the good that good conduct of thinking of good, that person also for the time being will feel good. Here it says, those who are good will take the life told by others about your glories, your glorious life, and they become Yanite Charitanisha Manushya Sadhava Kalau. And in this Kali Yuga will get easily beyond the ignorance in this iron age. This Kali Yuga is said to be, Sri Ramakrishna said, in Kali there is the Annagata Prana. The human beings have their life centered on Anna. So Anna is here said not food. Food is important in all ages to maintain your life, sustain your life. Then why said he said Annagata Prana in Kali Yuga? Annagata Prana means Anna is also another name of body. Because body grows with Anna. We eat food and body has become big. How from a baby we became big. It's all the food that transform into our body. So food, this body is one way it's called Anna. So this Annagata Prana means in Kali Yuga, people are centered in body, body centered, body identified. That happens in Kali Yuga. And in this Kali Yuga, when the people are thinking themselves as the body, identified with the body, what is the way to go beyond this of ignorance, of bondage? So that is Yanite Charitanisha Manushya Sadhava. Hearing and reciting which deeds of thine, O Lord, good people will easily get beyond ignorance in this Kali Yuga. So, reciting and hearing. Someone will say, some others will hear. Both are equally important. The more we have people who talk divine things, godly things, the more is better for the society, because more people talk, more than the number of people speaking, more there will be more listeners, and that will make them purified in the Kali Yuga. That's how it is needed, because in other yuga they said people used to do a lot of sadhana and tapasya with all austerity used to practice. In this age, there is not that austerity that we hear of people standing on one feet and with a Uddhava Bahu and arms raised and the mind trying to put on God, on certain object of your sadhana, dhyana, with not caring for the body at all. So that type of austerity is not there in Kali Yuga for most of us. So, what is the way out? We are in comfortable life, physically comfort, taking all the goodness to the body, not giving it, making it little, even difficulty. So, all that we do. So, for that, what is the way out? How will we be freed from impurities? Then there is talk about God, talk about goodness, and hear about God, hear about goodness. That is the way your bondage will go easily. And that is one of the sadhanas. As we say, Nama Japa and the prayer and the meditation and the sing the glories of God. Singing glories of God means what? That is reading this thing, talking about that all comes the Kirtaniya Sadhari. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says in Shastakam it is written, Trinadapi Suni Chena. What are the sadhanas? How will we realize God? How will we progress spiritually? He had 8 verses for that. One of the verses says, Trinadapi Suni Chena Taro Rapi Sahishnuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadhari. Have no seek no honor for yourself, amanina, no honor, and but give honor to everyone, amanina mana dena, always give the honor, respect to others. Don't seek respect for yourself, be humble. And trinadapi sunichena, Be humble like the blade of grass, where anybody comes and walks doesn't mind grass. It's so humble, nobody notices. It doesn't raise its head high like the big trees. So be humble like the grass. And taro rapi shishuna, and also become like a tree. It's tall and prominent to be seen? No, not in that way. But Sahishnu, so many things happen, so much wind, storm, that all falls, but it's standing on its own feet, not complaining for anything. People even cut it, then it doesn't complain anything. Taro rapi Sahishnuna. They throw the stones when there are fruits. And what the trees do? They give their fruits to the person who is harming it, who is throwing stones on it. Be like that. Be good to even to the people who are not good to you. The taro rapi shahishnuna. Be fortified that way. And amanina manadena kirtaniya sadahari. Always sing the glory of God. Always do the kirtana of Hari, that is the name. Sing the glory of God. Means what? Talk about God. Repeat the name of God. Read the scriptures. All those come in Kirtaniya. When to do that? Sada, always, whenever you are free from your responsibilities and duties in the world, put your mind always in Hari. Put your mind how to put? Through doing japam. When you have time, read some good books. When you have opportunity to speak to someone who you think will like of your own type your mind, then talk about what you read. You just share that. Sharing makes you more. It sinks when you start talking about something that you have read. So share that good things. That's what Kirtaniya Sadahari. These are the sadhanas that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he said. Of all the things of the avatar of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, nothing is recorded. There's the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Bhagavata, his books are there, his life is there, his sayings are also there. But these 8 verses called Shikshastakam is available in the Hollywood's website, Vedanta.org. And there it is said that 8 verses, and those are all written, composed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as the simple way of sadhana to become spiritual. So, Brahma is continuing to say to Krishna now. Yaduvangse vatirnasya bhavatah purushottama saratsatam vyatiyaya panchavinksadikam prabhu. O Prabhu, O Lord, you are the Lord, Vishnu. O thou supreme being, where is that? Purushottama, supreme being. We are all beings, he is the supreme being. 125 years have passed since thou didst incarnate in Yadu's line. Here it says the life of Sri Krishna, how many years he lived. Otherwise, it is difficult to find how many years the avatars lived. We don't know the year, how many years the Rama lived, or Purusharama lived, or even Vamana lived. How many years were they lived, that we don't know. Vamana, even we don't know where was he born, how did he grow up, we don't know. Only Vamana's reference comes for that Bali incident. In Rama and Krishna, we know the full thing. Your Buddha avatar also, we have the full life, where he was born and how until he died. Of course, in the other than 10 avatars, the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or Sri Ramakrishna, we know full life of them. But how many years they lived, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Buddha and Sri Ramakrishna, we know. But others we don't know. Rama, we don't know exactly. But here it is said, the proof that Sri Krishna lived for 125 years. That says, Saras Satam Vyatiyaya Panchavinkshadikam Prabhu. O Lord, you lived for, the poetical way of saying, you lived for Saras Satam, 100 autumns. Sarat it means autumn. 100 autumns you lived. That somehow autumn is the way Jivema Sarada Satam, Srinuyama Sarada Satam. Or may you live for 100 years, may you talk for 100 years. That's all. This with Sarada Ritu as the beginning or at the counting thing of the year is always said the Sharat Ritu. After Sharat Ritu completed and again Sharat came, that is your 1 year, like that thing. And that was how the Sanskrit literature is said. Here also, Brahma says to Sri Krishna, Sharat Satam Vyatitaya. You have passed 100 autumns, Sharat Ritus, 100 autumns. And then he completes, then it's not yet complete. Pancha Vingsadhikam Prabhu. Not only 100, but the Pancha Vingsha Adhikam, 100 plus Pancha Vingsha. Vingsha means 20, Pancha Vingsha means 25. 100 plus 25, you lived here 125 years. You have lived in this world and done wonderful work to remove the burden of the sins of this world. So glorious your life. Whoever speaks your life, whoever listens to your life, all they will become emancipated from the bondage of ignorance and will reach the light of knowledge and freedom that Brahma says. And you came in the Yadu Vamsa, in Yadu's line that it is said, because he lived in the Yadu Vamsa. Nadhuna te khiladhara deva karya visheshitam kulancha viprashapena nasta prayam abhudidam. O thou support of the universe, thou hast now no more work to do for the gods. And this line also is almost at the point of destruction owing to the Brahmana's curse. This line means line of Yadus. So that is at the end of their existence, Nashtapraya. And you have been born in that line, but that line by the curse of the Brahmanas is going to be destroyed. Yaduvangsa Dhangsa, that Yaduvangsa Nasa will be there, and you have lived in this Yaduvangsa for 125 years with all the glory. Then this today's already time happened. So we'll talk about the Shapa, Vipra Shapa, that by the curse of a Brahmana or the Rishi, that Yaduvangsa will be destroyed, and you have lived in this Yaduvangsa for 125 years. Now time to conclude your Naralila. That's Brahma has come to remind Krishna. In the case of Shukara that you read in the Gospel, Krishna came as the Shukara, as the boar, and he was caught up in the Maya. Maya is so powerful that Maya Dhisa also is caught when it takes the form with the help of Maya. So they say that Vishnu was very happy. He was not going to avoid this Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyaksha is all destroyed. But Vishnu is not going back to his abode. Then Shiva came and he requested, Lord, it is time to go back. Your work is done. Whatever you had come. Maya is that powerful. When we come here, we don't want to go there. Also, we human beings also say the world is so nice. Oh, I'll have to die. We are afraid. We are unwilling to die, means we are unwilling to leave this world. We want to be here for all the time. Even old Jatilo Mundo, Jata Vihinam, Jatundam. There is no teeth, the body is shaking, Munda is shaking, there is nothing, but still Tadapina Munchati Asha Pindam Asha, that I want to live more, that desire, that hope, expectation even doesn't go. And that's what Shankara said. That happens to all of us. And even the God, they don't want to go. Particularly in Shukara, life of this boar is there in the Varaha Purana or somewhere is there. Then the Brahma and Brahma and Shiva all came. It's a lot time to go back. They have performed the duty. They have to remove from Maya, with all their friends, alter egos. And what Vishnu says, no, what are you saying? I'm so happy here. And he was where he was doing in the mud, playing with his children and jumping from one corner to other corner and making the sound. And he's so happy in the Shukara Yoni, as the boar, as a pig. And then Shiva said, no, that will not happen. I have to remove your Maya, Lord. And he goes and removes the body, destroys the body of boar, body of pig. And then Vishnu comes out laughing, freed from Maya. That's how the power of Maya is. Attachment to the body, whatever body we have. We are attached to this human body. Next life, if we get Sukara body, we'll be attached to that. We don't want to leave that Sukara body. That is the best. They're so nice, happy, eating something, whatever dirt is there, and moving and living in the mud. That itself is dirt. No, you will become human. No, 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 I don't want to become human. I'm very happy here. Even the Lord Vishnu says that. So, like that happens to us. As if for this human life is the best, and there can be nothing better than that. We think that way. And that is all the power of Maya. And when Vishnu and Shiva will come, and he will open this Maya will be cut off, and then the Mother Kali will come and untie that this ignorance that binds our mind, and Vishnu and the Shiva will give us Taraka mantra when we die in Benares, and then we'll go also laughing. Oh, where in this Maya I thought I am this body. I am not the body. I thought I'm going to die. I'm going to be released from the bondage of body. That type of thought will come. And here they say to Sri Krishna, Lord, please, now time to go back to Vaikuntha. You're done. We had all decided you will do this. You have done exactly as we had wished. And now time to go back to Vaikuntha. 125 years, no other avatara did. Buddha lived for 80 years, and Sri Ramakrishna only 50 years, and Jesus came in only 32 years. Like that, only 29 years. Jesus lived only 29 years. Like that, the avatar was very short. Sri Krishna's life was long. Rama, we don't know exactly how many years he lived, but 125 years he lived. And reminder to go back. That's what it is. And people said, one person said to Yama that, Lord, I know that you'll come and take me back, but please remind me that I have to go back. Otherwise, I'll be immersed in this world. So I would not like to go. So give me some indication now. Time is over. Now to go back. Time, death is coming. Don't come, just come and drag me. So I should be prepared to die. So finally, what happened? Time finished. The Yama comes now. Time to go. He said, Yamadevata, Dharmaraja, I told you to give me indication that I will have to go. You come and send me reminders. Now time to go. So much time left. Say the ETA. Now 15 minutes left to reach. Now 10 minutes left to reach the destination. Like that, you should tell me when I'm going. Like now 5 years left. I 1 year left. You're coming just suddenly and you're saying I have to go. What about my request? And you also said yes that time. Why didn't you then remind me? Send me indication. He said, my dear child, I sent you the indication the time is getting over. But no, you never came and said, I didn't come, but I sent you indication. Where was that? Oh, first I turned your hairs gray. That was the indication. Then eyesight became weak. That was another indication. You started listening, hearing less. You had to use hearing aid. That was another indication. Time is going. Time is up now. Then your teeth started falling, and your skin became wrinkled, and all that thing, and memory started failing. Those are all my indications that time is up. You have to come. You didn't pay heed to any of those, and the thought that you will be here always like a youth, or we will live always with hearing aid and be wearing big glasses of thick glasses. You will be living and continue to live. That was my indication. That's how we all are getting indication. Time is going up. So when Swami Yogatmananda gave a nice talk. Time is running out. He gave a talk. So time is running out for us. Now all the indication of Yama Dharmaraja is there that you will have to go. You conclude your. Ours also Naralila. We have become that was Devata's Naralila. This is our soul's Naralila. So our Naralila has also to finish. Particularly this Naralila. Maybe we will start another Naralila in our next life. But Lord also was doing the Naralila. He came to remind that 125 years, Lord, happened in this world. We also live 70, 80, 90, 100 years. Now time to go. So we have to be prepared to go by being more focused to do the good things, by talking good things, listening good things, thinking good things. And what is the good thing that can be talked, thought, and listened? It's a thought about God. There can be nothing better than the Leela of God, then the Shiksha of God, then the conversation of God, trying to bring those in every moment of our life, so that we become, when the time comes, really Yama Dharmaraja comes, then we say, yes, I knew that you were coming, so I am prepared. Then we say, Om Hari Om Ramakrishna, and then go. Body lies here. People may cry if there are some relatives, or they may, if they are wise enough, they will not cry. They will say, Hari Om Ramakrishna, wonderful life finished, to go to another life or to get mukti, and that work was done well. He was a good person. He used to always talk about God, always jolly, never thought bad about others, never spoke bad about others. He was a nice soul that gone with God. He will go sure to God. People will say, they will not cry. They say, when we cry for a monk when he dies, or the people when they die, that become, the tears become like the great rivers, difficult to cross for the soul. That people, we should not cry for the departed, particularly the holy person, and rather we should say the glory of that person and purify ourselves with his or any good person's life. So to make our life successful is to talk and think and speak of God. That alone will make us free from the bondage of impurity. That is like the reading of the Shastras. Shastras contain that. When we see the Upanishads, the knowledge of the Upanishads is also the stream that flowed from God. That is also purifying. And the Ganga that flowed from the physical, that river, that also purifying. Similarly, purifying is the talk, conversation about God. Thank you very much for this Uddhava Gita. It's still the real conversation between Sri Krishna has not come. Now the gods will say something, and after 42 verses, from 42 to come the Uddhava and Sri Krishna Samvada. Now it is the Brahma and Samvada. Now Sri Krishna will say something after this is told. Next time in our class, if I do not forget, I remember, then we can say that how this Brahmana gives shapa to the to Yadu, the people of Yadu Vamsa. What was that curse that made all Yadus fight, and in fight there is a civil war, in fight and destruction of whole Yadu Kula by the curse of a Brahmana. Sri Krishna says, you see, it is the curse of the Brahmana. Actually, I had to do that. The curse is also, it was the will of God that had to be done because of some regions. They had become Uddhata. Uddhava is good person. Uddhata, Uddhatya is like a bad thing. They become too flamboyant. Uddhata is that type of thing. They become too arrogant, too proud, and I had to control and contain them. With that, you cannot live happily. You will destroy the whole human goodness. So, if you cannot be rectified, then you have to be eliminated. That's why I planned that. That's what all the story of Brahmana cursing was, because of the plan of God. Otherwise, why will a Brahmana curse in that way? So that we'll do next time if I remember. Otherwise, we'll go to the next verse. Now the closing chants. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu Jananim Saradam Devim Ramakrishnam Jagadgurum Padpadme Tayo Shritva Pranamami Muhurmuhu. Good night to everyone.